Good evening, everyone. My name is Queen Nita, and today is 17th February 2021. With the ongoing post about the questions asked with regards to the witch camp in the northern parts of our country during the vetting sessions of Safo. As Minister of Gender, I thought it wise that I should share my experience with you for us to know how serious these things are. My experience, I experienced being accused of being a witch and victimized when I was in secondary school. I was just a teenager at the time, between the ages of 15 and 17 when I left school. My experience was that because I seemed to be very independent minded and I was a loner, and I came across as a strong character and assertive person who was very confident and seemed fearless. Somehow, somewhere, I don't know when and how it started, but rumors started generating from the girls' dormitory that I am a witch. And these rumors started generating when the girls started saying that when they go out at night, to go and use the bathroom to urinate or use the lavatory to ease themselves. Some claimed that they encountered creatures, some claimed that they encountered a woman. Some also claimed that when they slept in their dormitories, they would hear footsteps in the corridors of the dormitory. Some also claimed that they heard the clinking of buckets and people someone going up and down the stairs and all that. Some claimed that the people, some of the claims with regards to the creatures that they encountered when they were going to the bathroom or the lavatory were quite outrageous. And for me, I never encountered any of those things. And in schools or secondary schools, or let me say in my school, most of the students were in cliques or were in groups of friends. And for me, I particularly didn't have a group of friends, or there was no particular group that I was a member of. But then I had a few students that I was particularly close to, and also I was friends with my mates in my classroom, and then of course my school sisters, and then also my school mothers were also quite close to me. And so when students, girls, I'm talking about the girls, when they claimed to be sharing their experiences with these night adventures, I personally didn't encounter any, and I kept saying that I never encountered any. Going forward, rumor had it that I am the witch, and for that reason I wasn't encountering any of those things. And then also some also claimed, according to rumors that I heard, some claimed that they had encountered me, and in their encounters, their proof was that some of these creatures that they encountered turned into me, or it was me who turned into those creatures. It got to a point in time that they started calling us out in the middle of the night to pray in the compound, what we call under the mango tree, in the compound of the dormitory, between the hours of 12 and 1 a.m. because they claimed that was the time that the witch or the witches were operating. And I remember that even in times that I was sick and I was in bed, I would be forced out of my bed to join in this prayer session with no regards to my health whatsoever. And this is because they insisted that if I wasn't present, they were not going to pray. And prayer will not commence without my presence, because me being the witch, I had to be there for their prayers to exorcise the spirit of witchcraft from me. Based on these rumors, I experienced a lot of discrimination. I was ostracized. I felt taunted. It was a lot of psychological and emotional trauma for me. And the worst of it all was that one of the teachers in the school, who happens to be a house mistress of one of the houses, was a spearhead of this rumor. And for some reason, I don't know whatever I did to this woman, but for some reason she spearheaded this rumor and entrenched it so much into the psyche of the students. There was this one time that I had gone to one of the dormitories to go and ask of something. I went to have a conversation with one of my mates in one of the dormitories, and after I had left and I went to my dormitory, a few hours later I received information that this particular mistress was looking for me. This house mistress was looking for me. When I went to see her in her residence, she did mention that she had been informed that as soon as I had left the dormitory that I went to have a conversation with my classmates, one of the girls in the dormitory had been afflicted with an ailment and suddenly became sick, and so I was the one that caused the sickness, or let's say I am the one that caused the sickness, and that my witchcraft inflicted her with the sickness. And for that reason, she wanted me to come and remove the sickness from this student. And you can imagine the humiliation and the emotional and psychological states in which I was at the time when she said that to me. And so I asked myself that if indeed I am a witch and I indeed inflicted this student with the disease or the sickness that they claim I had done, how come that it is me who is supposed to go and say a prayer? How can a witch say a prayer to remove, in quotes, the sickness from somebody that had inflicted with sickness? Anyway, so she asked me to follow her, and I tallied along. She went with me to the dormitory and stood by the bed of the girl, and she asked the girl in my presence that is she sure that I am the one who came to the dormitory, and after I left she fell sick immediately. The girl said yes. This is a dormitory full of girls. The humiliation, and I mean, about 1/3 of the girls' dormitories had heard about it, and they had come up to that particular dormitory, and they started. First, she asked that I lay hands on the girl and pray to remove the sickness. And I said, look, if indeed I am the one who afflicted her with the sickness, how is it that when I pray for her, the sickness would go away? And so I wasn't going to subject myself to such humiliation. And so they started praying. You know, those who would stomp their feet, stomped their feet. Those who would clap, clapped. Those who supposedly were gifted with the speaking in tongues were also speaking in tongues, apparently binding me and casting the devil and the spirit of witchcraft away from me, and healing the girl. When they had finished with all that they were doing, and then they dispersed, and so I also left. I mean, this went on throughout my stay in secondary school for all the years that I was in school. And you know, for a teacher or an adult who is supposed to be the protector or the guide, the guardian to a student that has been left in the care of the authorities of the school, it is very sad to see, and very heartbreaking, that a teacher will subject a student to this level of humiliation. I could go on and talk about the discrimination that I faced, the ostracization. People didn't want to associate with me. People didn't even want to hear my name. There were times that I would be passing by and a group of girls would be gathered, and they are obviously gossiping about me, and with no apology whatsoever. It is so obvious, and they make it so obvious. Sometimes they even talk to your hearing for you to know that they are talking about you, and they say all manner of things. They cast a lot of aspersions on me. Imagine a child, a teenager like me, who was already going through a lot of domestic issues at home, with a very sick mother at home, being an only child who was shuttling between being in secondary school, in a boarding school, and going home occasionally to go and make sure that my mother was okay, because it was very important to me with regards to her ailment. It was very important to me that every now and then I checked on her. She was the only person that could have been able to step into the situation and then addressed it, but she wasn't well. My mom was ill, and so for a child like me, I didn't think that it was prudent for me to burden my mother with some of these issues. And so I had to carry that burden of having to deal with it. And if not for my school mothers who were very supportive, my school sisters who were very supportive, my classmates who were also very supportive, and a few other friends that I had, I'm sure that I probably would have committed suicide in school, because at some point I thought of committing suicide. I'm sorry, but those of you that went to school with me didn't know this, but at some point I thought of committing suicide. It got to a point that I also decided to drop out of school, because I got fed up. I got really, really fed up. There was nobody to confide in. There was no adult to step in for me and deal with the situation. And so I wanted to drop out, and one of my school sisters stepped in when I told her that I was going to drop out from school. And she asked me to stay on, and said that if I'd stayed on all these years and I was in my final year, there was no point in dropping out of school, and that I should hold on and would complete school very soon. And that was how come I managed to hold on and finish school. But you see, it got to a point where I would seize, because of these rumors, I would seize every opportunity that I had to leave school. So the moment I fell sick, even though my school mothers were very loving and very caring and very supportive, and they took very good care of me, I just wanted an opportunity to leave school. And so the moment I am sick, I am out of school. The least opportunity I get, I take permission and I leave school. Because for me, with all the things that I was experiencing at home domestically, that was in itself traumatic to me. I felt that my school should be a place of refuge, or a place of respite for me, but it was worse. And so if I could stay out of school for even a day, I would take the opportunity and do that. And because of that, I also frequented my auntie's place quite often. And so every now and then I would leave school and then go over to my auntie's place, spend a few hours over there, and then come back to school, just because I wanted to be away from all the rumors, the victimization, the discrimination, the ostracization, and all that. And if you haven't walked in the shoes of somebody who has been accused of being a witch and victimized, you would not understand or feel or know the pain that these people go through. For me, when I saw the video last year about the old woman who was beaten to death by her granddaughter, it really broke my heart. I deliberately did not talk about the issue or write anything about it because I could relate. And the more I thought about it, the more my heart broke. And even as I'm talking about it now, my eyes are tearing, but I'm holding myself not to shed a tear because I'm having a conversation with you. For me, I have come to realize that it is not only about the inhumane conditions that they are put in, but also it is the general orientation of our society. Our society is very superstitiously entrenched in orientation that when you go to our churches, when you go to our schools, even supposedly people that are supposed to know better, who are educated, who are well informed, are even the ones who perpetuate this the most. And so you ask yourself that, is it enough to just provide these women befitting accommodation? Yes, we have to provide them befitting accommodation. I agree with that. We have to give them, we have to restore their sense of dignity, their sense of humanness. We have to restore all that. But you know, it is not enough, because we need to put in the civic work. It is our civic duty to orient the people about the psychological and emotional trauma that they cause people, these victims of accused witchcraft, the psychological and emotional trauma that they cause these people. Believe you me, if not for the sake of my mother and the fact that I am an only child, without a doubt, without a second thought, I would have committed suicide. Because I was tired. I was broken. This is somebody that goes home and there is so much to deal with domestically, and you come home, you come to school, and where you think that at least you would have some protection, some guidance, some support, some respite, is even worse. Again, apart from the fact that we have laws that one can be sued for defamation, one can level a suit against somebody for defamation. I think that we have to put in place a law that criminalizes the accusation of people, that criminalizes accusing people of witchcraft. Once we criminalize it, and people, there is a punishment meted out for people who victimize and accuse others of witchcraft, then we would have our society gradually departing from that from that act, you know. So imagine if I was lynched somehow, or I was attacked by someone because I am a witch in school, then I would have lost my life at that tender age. Even though it's been over 20 years since I left school, but it has always remained with me. The pain, the agony, the victimization has always remained with me. And because you know, it is so sensitive to me that anytime I see people talking about it, or the issue of witchcraft comes up in discussion, I do not want to talk about it, because it's like I'm reliving the experience all over again, as though it just happened yesterday. And so I am pleading, I'm using this forum and this video to plead that in as much as we are advocating for the women who have been accused of witchcraft and have been abandoned and ostracized to the witch camps in the northern parts of our country, I am also using this platform to advocate and to also educate people that you should put yourself in other people's shoes. How would you feel if your sister, your cousin, your daughter, your son, your mother is accused of witchcraft? How would you feel? How would you feel if you yourself is accused of witchcraft? We see all this abuse that are meted out to people in the name of being them accused of being witches by their children, by pastors, by people in society that are supposed to know better, by family members. Children are even abandoned. Children are even abandoned because someone has accused an innocent child of being a witch. My name is Queen Nita, and I believe that as I have shared my experience with you, you would carry the message along and also get other people to be educated. Thank you, and see you next time. Bye.